Hey everyone, how's each and every one of you are doing on this Friday evening or Saturday morning, wherever you're viewing this video content. I hope that everyone is doing well and doing great, and as well enjoying this time off for summer vacation and beyond. So keeping cool, drinking a lot of water. Stay, like I said, try not to be on the heat too much because it's gonna result in a sunburn that is sometimes takes weeks to heal. So enjoy, have fun, and be safe, everyone. All right, so we're on week 7 in the pre-algebra class session that I'm tutoring a couple students from San Antonio. They're taking courses in the summer to help build their math skills, to help prepare for the upcoming academic school year, or school year actually. So this is one of the things I'll be doing. Before I proceed any further, you can see in this a little bit of everything right here. It says the integer cheat sheet. I will provide this to everyone who are viewing this content, and it's going to be available on either Google Classroom or on Canvas. No need to worry. So it's going to be understandable. These are the rules that I will be going over. So bear in mind, in a few moments, I'll go back to here. All right. So we have selected 4 problems from add, subtract, multiplying, and divide. I will do my very best to explain these signs, why they're significant in today's math. It's going to be beneficial later on when you're taking higher math courses, or even some science courses like chemistry to help, and physics. Well, more like chemistry, because it's going to help you build the math. Need more math in those classes. But let's begin. So we have I selected number 1, 2, 6, and 10 to add. So number 1, we see both have parentheses, right? -4 on the left, plus in parentheses -1. Okay, this is so significant. Why is that? I'm gonna read something here. Okay, it says adding integers. Same sign, add and keep the sign. Add the absolute value of the numbers and keep the sign. A positive plus a positive equals a positive, right? Like this, right? That's an example of one of the problems that I have here. A negative plus a negative equals a negative. It's similar to the ones you see right here, right? So far, you see the difference between this problem, number 1, and something similar like this, right? So the answer we have in front of us, it's going to be a negative. I'm going to show you why. So when you see this, it's going to be the same, actually going to be the same sign. So I'm going to bring down the negative, bring down the 4 from the parentheses, plus a -1. So the answer is going to be a negative, right? But which number? 3 or a 5? A 5, right? See? You keep the sign. You keep the sign. But this will be a -5. Like you said, like I mentioned here, we have same sign, add and keep the sign. A negative plus a negative, or in this instance, you keep the sign. That's what we just did in the first part. Right there. So that's where you keep the sign. A -5. Any questions on number 1? Okay. Let's go to number 2. A negative 5 in parentheses plus 1. A regular 1. Question, is the answer going to be a negative or a positive outcome? Give you a second or two to debate on whatever your response will be. If you said negative, you're correct. So in this case, in order to get rid of the parentheses, you bring down the 5 plus 1. We know the answer be a negative. So we have negative 5 plus 1 is going to be a negative 6 or negative 4. It's going to be a negative 4, right? Why? Watch this. I'm going to read this further. The last part, it says different signs, subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. Subtract the absolute value of the numbers and keep the sign of the bigger number. Right? So we have like this, a negative 4 plus a positive 5, you keep the bigger number is the positive 1. And the same thing with a positive 4 and a negative 5, you keep the negative 1. In this instance, we keep the bigger number is negative 5. So it returns to be a negative answer. We have 5 plus 1 equal a negative 5 plus 1, it'll be a negative 4. Any questions on number 2? That wasn't too bad, right? All right. So bear in mind, I will have these notes scanned from this video lecture. So once I get this video posted, I will send y'all an announcement on the video being available. So no need to write down everything down. So you're okay, everyone. All right. So that being that may, so we have number 6. A negative is 8 plus 7. So we bring down the negative 8. And a plus 7. Question, is the answer going to be a negative or a positive answer? It's going to be a negative, right? And the question is the answer going to be a negative 15 or a negative 1? We get negative 1 because this is a bigger number. Like I mentioned in the previous on these notes, keep the bigger sign, keep the bigger number, right? It says subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. Like I mentioned right here is a good example of this, right? You see that? And the same thing right here in this problem. So the answer would be a negative 1. So any questions on number 6? All right. Number 10 is similar to number 1, right? So first thing first, we could put the numbers out for parentheses. And then we know the answer will be a negative, right? Is it a negative 5 or a negative 3? It'll be a negative 5, right? There you go. That's our final answer. There you have it, folks. We have completed the finding the sum. That wasn't too bad, right? There you go. So everything is off to a good start. Now, any questions before we go to the next part, which is subtraction? All right. No questions? Okay. Now I selected finding the difference. I selected problems 11, 12, 15, and 19. Okay? All right. Let's go with number 11. We have a -3 in the parentheses minus 7. So I'm going to put them out, pull these out. Oh, Lord. Oh, you know what? Let me make this bigger. It's okay. I'll write them down in a little bit. There you go. You can see it. Question. I'm going to look over these notes. Here we go. Subtracting integers. Do not subtract integers. You must change the sign. Add the opposite. Keep the sign of the first number. Change the subtraction sign to addition. Change the sign of the second number to the opposite sign. If it is positive, change to negative. If it's negative, change to positive. Like these. Okay. Keep the sign. Keep change. It says keep change. I don't know why twice, but it's okay. So this is an example. A little tongue tied, forgive me. So this is what it looks like, right? And it says now use the rules for adding, same sign, absolute values, and keep the sign. That's when you go to adding, but we're doing subtracting, right? All right. So, being that may, we have a -3 minus 7 question. Is the final answer be a negative or positive? Of course, it'll be a negative for sure. That's right. Let's see if the question is going to be a -4 or a -10. What do you think? -10, right? It's like you're adding. Basically, you're adding, but except you have a negative in front. So you have a -3 minus 7. That's what I got. A -3 minus 7. It gives us a -10. That's how you do it. All right. So, any questions on number 11? That wasn't too bad, right? That wasn't. All right. So, let's go to the next problem. We have an 8 minus a -4 inside the box. Okay, this is the one I told you about. Right? This is where it's mentioned about the signs, right? It says, I believe, let me see, change the sign. Okay, let me see. If it's a negative, change to positive. Like that. There you go. Like that, right? So we're going to change that. We're going to bring down to 8. Right? We're going to bring down to 8. And this will change to a negative times a negative. There'll be a positive, right? It'll be a +4. Now we can do the math. What's 8 plus 4? 12. That's our final answer. Because it says right here on the notes, if it's a negative, change to positive. In this case, we did that on this problem. So, any questions on number 12? All right. Now we could do, this is a little bit different. Number 15, we have a -6 minus a -5. Of course, we're going to bring down the -6 to the front. And this would change to a +5, right? We add 5. However, is the answer going to be a negative or a positive number? A negative, right? Which number? Number 11 or number 1? 11 or 1? That's your what's your take? -1, because you're subtracting, because the bigger number would get the like I said, the sign. The bigger sign goes ahead than the in front of the original, in front of the answer. So in this case, we have a -6 plus 5 will give us a -1. So any questions on number 15? No questions? All right, let's go on. And this is an easy one. Number 19. 5 minus 5, that gives us which number? 0. That wasn't too bad, right? So there's a difference there's a huge difference between add and subtract. Is that add, you keep the numbers. Of course, you're keeping the numbers, right? It says add and keep the number. Keep the sign, actually. Same sign. And in the different signs, subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. While subtracting, you keep the sign of the first number. Change the subtraction sign to addition. Change the signs of the second number to the opposite sign. If it's a positive, change to a negative. If it's a negative, change to a positive. So that's what it is. That's a huge difference based on those notes. And I hope it's helping y'all a little bit. Each of you a little bit on this. Mostly it gets a little bit tricky when you're doing these signs, especially with adding and subtracting. And that's what gets most people a little bit confused, but it's not that bad. But on that section, any more questions that you want to ask? All right. So we're doing multiplying, which is find a product. When you see product, that means multiply. When you see difference, it means to subtract. When you see sum, it means to add. So we're doing multiplying. I selected 21, 22, 26, and 29. So, being that man, I'm going to show you on the paper. And it says multiplying integers. Same sign, positive. Multiply the numbers. The answer be a positive. Different signs. A negative. Multiply the numbers. Answer will be negative. Remember, in multiplying, a negative times a negative equals a positive. A positive times a negative equals a negative, right? That's the same thing for for multiplying and dividing, I believe. Yes. So that's the same thing. Okay. Let's go. So in the first one, 21, we have a -9 times a -6. Is the answer will be the answer will be a negative or a positive. Remember, a negative times a negative equals a positive, right? So we have a positive answer. What's 9 times 6? 54. Okay. So far, so good, right? Okay. Now we have 22. We have a positive 10 times a -5. Is it, answer will be a Negative or a positive? The answer would be a negative, right? Negative times a positive equals a negative. What's 10 times 5? 50. Negative 50 is our final answer. So there's a difference between this problem and that problem. One's a positive with those two negatives, and one's a negative based on one number is a negative and another is a positive. So far, so good. All right, let's keep going. All right, so like similar to the same problem was a negative 9 times a negative 4. The answer would be a positive, right? A negative times a negative equals a positive. And what's the answer of 9 times 4 equals 36? All right. Okay, let's move on. Any questions on number 26? Same as the 21, right? Not too bad, right? Okay. Let's move on to 29. Same thing. A negative 10 times a negative 4. That gives us a positive answer. And what is 10 times 4? Positive 40. All right. The difference between this and that is that both, like I mentioned before, when you have two negatives that in multiplication or dividing, the answer will be a positive. And one is a negative sign and another is a positive, the answer will be a negative. And there's a difference between those two numbers and two problems. But other than that, any questions on 21, 22, 26, and 29 on finding the product? All right, moving on to division, which is find the quotient means division, right? Dividing. So I selected 31, 33, 35, and 36. I'm going to read the same thing. It's the same thing as the multiplying integers, right? It's the same thing. Same sign, divide the numbers, answer will be positive. Different sign, the answer will be negative, right? All right. So now we have the negative 12 divided by negative 4. That gives us what? A positive, right? What's the answer? What's 12 divided by 4? 3. Any questions on number 31? That wasn't too bad, right? All right. All right, let's go on to 33. We have a negative 32 divided by a positive 8. The answer would be, if I'm understanding, a negative times a positive would be a negative, right? And we have a 32 divided by 8. That gives us 4. All right. So far, so good, right? All right. And then we have 35. What is 18 divided by 9? That gives us 2, right? All right. And when you see two positive numbers, it will be a positive. That's pretty much set in stone. And then, any questions on 35? All right. 36. We have the answer would be a positive divided by a negative would be a negative. And the answer would be 63 divided by 7 is 9. All right. So, any questions on 36? Sorry about the moving a little bit fast, but I want to make sure everyone's on point. But other than that, any questions on 31, 33, 35, and 36 in finding the quotient? All right, there you have it, folks. We are finished for today on this short video clip on YouTube. will be posted soon. So be sure to look over your notes on your cheat sheet and make sure your problems are correct before you turn them in for a grade. Until then, everyone, hope that each of you will have a wonderful, safe weekend. And I'll talk to you sooner or later. Have a good one, everyone. Talk to you then.